Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Alisha here at Cosmic Gateway, and I'm absolutely ecstatic right now to have Dale come and join me. So I just want to wish everyone a happy Lionsgate. So here we are on the 8/8 portal, and Dale will be recording right from a very sacred place in Australia, a sacred site. So welcome, Dale.
Yeah, do you want me to get it? Do you want me to change the adjustment?
Yeah.
There she is.
Yeah, wow. So
It's bigger than it looks.
So you've spent the last few days out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Been awesome.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious. I'm sure everyone who's watching is curious to know how you're tracking. You know, what's the latest intel, but also like what's been your experience. I mean, Uluru has been, you know, talked about so much, especially in the last couple of years, and its significance and importance. And I know that people share similar thoughts around it, and different expressions too. But I'd love to hear what your experience has been.
I want to hear yours too. Well, like anything, it's I think like I've been talking to you about it, haven't I? That like I've been like getting pulled to go here for since I knew I was going to be staying in Australia, really, that I wasn't going back to Europe. And like it's like I feel like a freaking Muslim on a pilgrimage to Mecca or something, right? And I've got a lot of thoughts on it. And I was going to go a couple of the school holidays, and they were doing lockdowns, but it was kind of meant to be now because we've it kind of synchronistically matched because I went and did like the Wittingen camp and stuff like that with the tribal elders, and then it kind of matched what Juma, one of the elders there, was telling me about this alignment that happened straight after we did our transmission on solstice in June. I think the alignment was 3 days after the planetary alignment. And he was telling me this is like the new dreaming. Yeah. And
I like the way you said transition, because I thought that was
appropriate. Yeah, and like I don't want to put words in his mouth because they're stories, right? But we're open to interpret. That's what I do. I don't just look at this elder says that's the whole truth. I think that all the stories all around the world tell the same story. And if you're silly enough just to look at just the tribal people in Australia and that's everything, or whatever, you want to look at the Abrahamic religions or Eastern religion or the Gnostic text, or like I got a new one sent to me today, the Hopi prophecy, and someone I know sent it to me. He said, "Oh, this is very similar to what you were just showing that the tribal elder drew in the sand," and it was the exact same thing. It was a square, and it had the planetary alignments, and this was the Hopi prophecy, and they drew it exactly like that. Came out of the right, which was, I think it's the northeast side where the planets aligned. The way they drew, and the Hopi prophecy is exactly the same, which is northern hemisphere and western hemisphere, and it tells the same story. And they actually did 2 lines that go out, and one's the path of destruction, and the other one's the path home. And there's actually an intersecting point, and it's almost like the splitting of realities. So it comes to a choice. And so yeah, I was looking at that, and then some other lady she's been in touch with me. She's written about the whale dreaming. I've been trying to get a hold of her. We've missed each other a few times, but I want to have it, so I'll leave that for another time. But she sent me another video that there was a big gathering in 2020 on the Murray River, and they did the whale dreaming story where they all walk out of the river. And then I remember when David Icke came to Australia, and he went over to Perth, and he spent time with some of the female elders in Perth, and that there's a recording on YouTube of that. I think it's been stripped, but it's online. And I remember she told the same story of the whale came from out of the ocean. So it's all the same thing. But what he was telling me is the planetary alignment, that's when the whale sings again. So it's like it's beginning and the end. It's like the dreaming. Well, it's like I look at the dreaming as it's like it's that part that always is. It's timeless. So the dreaming was in the past, but the new dreaming's now, and the original dreaming came from the future back to, you know what I mean? It's and the way he's explaining, I was looking at in cycles, and then I'm like, I was watching, I'm like, this is the destruction of Moldek. He spoke the whale because it's like has a tail, you know, a comet. So that's, they interpret that as the whale, and it came and it crashed and it split up, and they say that it creates the earth, the sun, and the moon. And but that's the earth, sun, the moon, but it's also this planetary alignment. And when that alignment comes again, the whale starts to sing. And he goes, just look at this image. He goes, you'll get it. He goes, you'll remember. And then I was thinking back to, because I used to read a lot of David Icke's books, and he used to always quote Immanuel Velikovsky, who wrote about, you know, like the cosmic wars and the destruction of Moldek. And then there's Wallace Thornhill did Thunderbolts of the Gods. He spoke, Stuart Swerdlow spoke about this. David Icke talks about it. George Kavaslis. It's a consensus history of the solar system that this planet blew up. And then I remember David Wilcock's work that I read, and he was talking about these water asteroids and parts of the asteroid belt and these comets. So they've found deep sea water in it, and they've even done NASA studies saying that water came to Earth from these comets, but and there was sea life, and so it completely fits the whole story. So I'm just, and then I'll shut up in a minute. But there was little observations I've had here too. Some people going, oh yeah, it's all. If you look at Uluru, so if you just where I am here, right over here, this is where you enter the national park, right? So I'm just before that, and so when you enter the national park, you got to pay money. So it's being corporatized and all that sort of stuff, but it's got a good side to it too, because they preserve it. But it's like, what the fuck happens at night here? Because they shut the whole park, they shut the whole park down at night. And so there's this beautiful sacredness of it and eeriness, and you know, you're standing on ancient land and stuff, but then there's this huge commercial side to it as well. And then people get ticked off going, oh, there's so many people here, like I want the rock to myself. It's like, what the fuck, like. And then it's like, if you want to talk about environment, that is the environment of the world we're living in, and you can see both of it. And do you think other humans aren't part of your environment, that you can just share, you know, that nature's just for you? It's for everyone. It's for everyone to experience, you know, black, white, purple, and fucking blue. So anyway, that was a long, how you going? I could.
No, I love it.
I'm completely out now. I'm like one of those whistleblowers.
So Dale, what intel have you got?
Wow, that's not working either, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You don't need to see my ugly mug. Oh,
there you are. Back again. No, it's good. We got a bit of a shot.
I mean, yeah. Well, the intel part too is I haven't been following a great deal of what's going on, and for me, it's been everything. You know, like this whole, like, you know, people go on a journey and they go on, and it is part of, like, I mean, I've been to lots of, I've been to, like, you know, freaking Angkor Wat and the Grand Canyon and Chichen Itza and Seven Lakes in Bulgaria. Like, I've been to a lot of the, you know, Bosnia, and it's like, well, what are you fucking searching for? Do you know what I mean? What are you searching for? But it's given me a great reminder that you kind of don't, you just forget about everything when you're out here, that outside shit isn't really even happening.
Yeah. And
that it's all about, to me, is like we're like universal embryos rebirthing through the mother, and that's why it's been. I did feel my heart like almost go back into beat properly. I mean, it's actually, I feel like it's kind of personal. I don't really want to share a lot of that, but yeah, it was, and to me, it was about connecting with no interference, with no influence or help from any other beings, no other entities, just me and the earth. That relationship on the soul level, and remembering who she is, how she's facilitated this experience for us, the love for us, and then that strips away everything. And that's why I've been sharing a lot about this whole God matrix now. It's like, it's all here. Everything's simple. But yeah, I'll shut up. And I did have like just this fucking energy charge going through my body. When I was out the camp too, it was just like my legs were like, they were like lightning bolts. I'm like, I don't know what it is. There's something out here. It's very, and then I think about like, was this place nuclear bombed as well too? Was this part of the ancient war? Because it's fucking weird out here.
Yeah.
Like, how did that rock get there?
I was talking to my dad about that this morning, and we had a bit of a debate because we were coming at it from different angles.
What do you think?
Well,
there's no right or wrong. You can theorize.
No, and I think it goes back to like every time I try to neutralize a disagreement in a conversation of like people can't come at the same version of reality. That's where I always go, well, there is different versions of reality. So you can't say that person's right and wrong. Like there's different timelines that play out, and it's just whatever your experience has been. But yeah, I don't know. Look, I have been to Uluru. It's been a long time. I found, my sense and feeling from it was unusual because I had my perception before going into it was like this big solid formation rock that is immovable, like it's got this tangibility to it. But what I noticed or observed was the fact that it felt incredibly hollow, like there was nothing inside. It was like this formation on the outside, but it's almost like you could knock on it and you'd hear the echo because there's like this hollowness to it. I mean,
it feels really light, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I know, the late and great Valerie Barrow, who recently passed away, I mean, she did immense amount of work around Al-Chiringa, who was her one of the main beings that worked with her, which is like the original First Nations person who resided on this planet, or that's what he was known as she spoke about. And he was always talking about how it was an asteroid and it hit that wiped out I could be hashing this up, and I am sorry, Valerie. Go back and watch the interviews that I did with her a couple of years ago. She talks about it, but it was an asteroid that hit, and that it was wiping out the dinosaurs. So, I mean, it's interesting.
Well,
I know
that kind of matches the story that the elder was telling me too, because he said this is where he described as the dinosaurs, right? And you can interpret that as the fucking reptile, whatever you want, right? And it smacked, the whale hit and it smacked, but it does look like molten, especially on the east side. If you look down, it's got this curvature. It looks like it's flowed water or like liquid that's gripped,
that gave me truth chills. So maybe this.
But like I went to Catachute or whatever it's called the other day. That's just incredible. And then like Kings Canyon, that's probably the most amazing place I've ever been in my life. That's right up there. And I went down to a bit. There's it's called the Garden of Eden. When you go right into the canyon, you can walk down. Now I remember what I did. You did one of your transmissions, and I had a complete. It was like actually I'll get onto this. It was like I can't remember which one it was, but it was something feminine, masculine, right? And which it usually is. But and my image that I had was me in whatever Garden of Eden, paradise, everything was in bliss, everything was in harmony. And then I started to go up the rock, and when I turned around, my partner or my woman or my other half of my feminine side was gone. It had left me, it had abandoned me. And it was eerily similar to when the Garden of Eden, when I was in Kings Canyon, and the same thing. And then I walked back up and I felt amazing, like when I got out of there. And it's like, fuck, man, was that, is that the real, the real Garden of Eden? Because we know everything about how the archons work in the Abrahamic religions is they've hijacked everything, they've twisted everything. Was that the birthplace, right? And then if you go Kings Canyon, well, then you got Crown, Corona. Did they even I was like going on the internet trying to find if there was any Chinese students who went to Kings Canyon, because I'm like, all right, if you want to make a crown virus, wouldn't you get the original blueprint of the crown, the authentic crown, and then twist and invert it, right? I don't know. That's like some crazy ideas I was having. But then that's what I've felt the most since I've been out here. That's my epiphany is I think the whole purpose for me doing this trip is to connect with nature, right? Which is that because of that abandonment, that feeling and the fall of man. So I've never really had any significant trauma in my life, but I have this fucking sense of abandonment and loss. And I've never really lost anyone close to me, ever. So like, where does that feeling come from? But so to me, it's like,
well,
I felt it profoundly, but I still can't put into words what it is. But it's like, it's a remembering. It's because I feel like when we chose to go on the journey in this universe, our soul came in. Part of the agreement was you had to separate, you had to forget, you had to go all the way down through the levels to come down to eventually be human, to remember who you are on all levels. And it's like, and the fear of abandonment is like, you've actually abandoned yourself.
Yeah.
But it's not really abandonment, because it was intent. And then it goes back to self-ownership. It's intent. I'm here through intent. I'm not here because someone abandoned me. And then like, that's another realization. But anyway, this is like, this shit's just been running through my head for like.
Well, I've got a few questions and thoughts.
Yeah, go on. Fuck, sorry. I'll shut the fuck up today.
No. That's why you're here. We want to hear. But okay. So, well, interesting, because I had that dream about you walking through the Garden of Eden and all your siblings around that time.
You did too, yeah.
And that race of the different humans that I saw, that was interesting. I'm still piecing that together, but that happened around the same time. Just going back, the whale started appearing to me, and I didn't know why, around like a month or so ago. So that would coincide with it. And I think it's so cool when you start to have these.
Didn't you do a painting of the whale too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's all these like synchronicities, and it's so, and I'm sure like obviously we're not the only people tapping into it. I know there's other people that tap into it. But
I've spoke to plenty of others that are getting this whale theme at the moment. Yeah.
And you don't really know why, and then obviously we're able to come together and talk about this stuff, and it can drop in different understandings for everyone who, because we're all connected. But I want to go back to, I always say, when there's trauma, like we all hold trauma in our energetic field, right? Whether it's from this lifetime or other experiences through the multidimensional realm, past life, parallel realities, wherever you want to go, right? Trauma is trauma, and sometimes the harder ones are to deal with when you don't have an understanding of where it's coming from, but it's coming up within you. And I always say, it doesn't really matter whether, it's carried in the soul imprint. So whether you can make a correlation to, that's because this happened in my childhood, or it's a harder one to grasp and understand when it bleeds into the field of the soul's journey. And it doesn't take away, it doesn't make it any less impactful. If anything, it's like harder, because your conscious mind is trying to grasp and understand, like, why am I experiencing this?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah.
So my question to you is, if you had that experience and then you were led to a place that looked very similar, do you feel that a part of that calling for you is to go back to retrace your footsteps, to be able to actually go back to the same geographical location to heal the separation or abandonment, and reclaim, like a soul retrieval, like reclaim an aspect of you in that place?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't consciously know that, but I know, yeah, I do feel there's something. I'm trying to get my head back.
Oh, you've gone back to the anonymous whistleblower again.
Maybe that was what's happened. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the first conversations we ever had, we spoke about grid work. And grid work doesn't necessarily mean going to the grid and you're like, you fucking doing your thing. Well, yeah, like it's sometimes it's just being there, being there. Like I think like I walked around the rock. I think that's what I needed to do, right? I didn't need to be like blissing out in meditation or whatever, but it's just like, when you walk, I'm literally walking around with your fucking mouth open and you just go, whoa. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sorry, that's one of the first conversations we had. Like I remember when I went to Poland and we went into this underground place and it was the sickest, like it was the most disgusting feeling I've ever had in my life. It was like pure evil. And how I knew it wasn't just me freaking out, because the other two guys, one of them who I'd never met till that day, we both felt it, like really felt it. And the guys who are absolutely not into any of this just looked at me and said, my mate said, what the fuck was that? And it's like, I think that's like when you come out here, you're waiting for something profound. And it's like, anytime you do that, anytime you're searching, you're searching for yourself, you're not going to get it. It's like, stop the search. Just be, right?
Yeah, I just finished a session and we were talking about how, like, when you're trying to grasp information about something, and the harder you try, the more it eludes you. But when you're in that state of like receptivity and something just floats into your head, that pay attention to that, because that's that's divine inspiration right there. But no, I agree with you. Like, I look back on the travels I've done of all the sacred sites that I've visited over the years, and I wasn't conscious to the level that I am today. And quite often, like, I was definitely called to go to certain places, but I didn't have a lot of knowledge. I'm not like you, Dale. I don't do a lot of research. I just sort of go, oh, all right. I just trust.
Yeah, you go off feel though. Yeah.
I'm like, I get how it happens for me is I get a dream, you got to go here. So I go, okay, book a ticket, off I go. I don't really, and I just kind of want to feel into the experience. But I've never had, in Egypt, yes, I have had profound experiences. And it's interesting, Lionsgate, and how that aligns with Orion. Let's come back to that Orion Sirius and the Orion Wars and today's date. But it's never really been a profound experience. If anything else, I found that I've got really sick, physically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like, that's the way that I've sort of processed energy. And you think, oh, I ate bad street food or whatever, but I think it's just the body reacting to certain energies and different places, and in connection with whatever your soul has experienced in that place.
Do you know what I think too is like part of this, part of me traveling around is one of the biggest control mechanisms we're in is the perpetual time loop. And that doesn't mean cycles over like long cycles. I'm talking just your daily routine. And it's a lot of people now, I met, there's so many people traveling around, and a lot that are similar situations that lost their job and stuff and gone traveling. Right? A lot of people have heard this call too, and it's adventure and experience. And part of that is like you kind of just chipping away, breaking up that time loop, because I don't really have much of a routine here. But another interesting one was, I have to look more into this. I've only just got sent, I was watching a bit before, is so after they'd done that proclamation, the tribes the other week, they've I think they've like reclaimed the seal of the Northern Territory.
Oh.
Yeah. And because they were talking about, they used the kangaroo and the emu. Now, I don't know too much about this. I'll shut up until I watch the whole stuff and see more. But they have been serving papers to all the institutions within both the territory government, federal government. And even after I did that interview with that lady the other week, whose children are, being harmed, that Michael Gunner stood down from state or territory politics after that, which is quite pretty interesting. I think there's a lot being shuffled around behind the scenes, and now they're talking about this Uluru statement and stuff like that too, which is like, man, this is just going to hook all the lefties because they all think it's fucking brilliant. Oh, let's consult with the tribal people of Australia. And it's like, it's just a big hook to get them to contract in before the Queen dies. So we're still waiting.
I know, right?
Goat legs to freaking keel over. So
I wonder when. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. We've been saying that for years. Look, she's going to die eventually, right? But that is the force that they're trying to get this referendum in, to put them into the constitution. Now, I didn't see any consultation with the tribes out here. They don't want anything to fucking do with that. It's these corporate black fellas, as the tribal people call. Well, they call them Jackies or whatever, right? The corporate blacks, and that's that happened to the Western European nations too. When they were tribes, they all got infiltrated as well. And that's why I hate when they keep saying, "Oh, that's white fella's law. That's white man's law." Oh, fuck off! It's not my law. Not my fucking. That's completely racist in the way that you're talking. That's white fella's law. It's not white fella's law. That's a satanic, inverted law. That's the same force that hijacked the white races and destroyed their knowledge. The ancient knowledge of Western Europe and Eastern Europe and the Caucasus and all that. They held the ancient knowledge as well too. They held real law, and they were fucked over by the Crown and the satanic force a long time ago. But it's just that for some reason, the tribal groups here were left untampered, some of them, right? Particularly around the center. That's the only difference. And it's not a direct attack on the tribal nations. It's an attack on all of us. And the white history has been lost as well. So yeah, I hate that. I hate that thriller because I don't like stand with the tribes all the way. Like I'm just let's bring everyone together. It's not about that. It's about, and that's what Uncle Juma said at the thing. That's why I love the way he spoke. He speaks very clear, very simple, very calm and quiet, but very powerful. And he goes, black, white, don't matter. He goes, this is, and he told me that I could share that video that he did because he said, this is for everyone. And that's why I told you, like Creator Mutwa used to say, he said, this is not, and he copped a lot of backlash from the Zulu Nation for sharing the so-called secret tribal laws to the world. And he said the time is nigh, like I have to share this information,
I wonder whether something's just like come into my mind around that. I wonder whether that is part of like the fear because of the past and the history where the inversion occurred, where secrets and knowledge were shared and then it was misused. Because I know that's been a big core word in this lifetime around like me wanting to like hold some of the knowledge and wisdom and teachings that I've attuned to and then like, but being terrified that it would get into the wrong hands. And I had to really check myself and go, that was a past experience, talking about the trauma. That was a past experience. It's okay. It's time for it to get out. And like, similar, it's like, don't hold back anymore. Like share what you know, because everyone needs to access that because we're in some very, I don't even know what to call it these times, just on a very human based level, in the work that I've been doing in the last few weeks, like, everyone is really coming up against like huge initiations, however that plays out for them. And, if you're sharing knowledge, information, whether it's techniques or ways that people can navigate through that, now is the time because everyone needs to be able to access and utilize that to come through as we're moving through these pockets of turbulence, as I like to call them, on the planet. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but just
yeah, it's that, oh, I don't know, it keeps
we're gonna
it's true. It's like
anonymous.
yeah, because I think that is a trauma that is held, and it is yeah, the information is being used and abused, and there's been mass infiltration. And actually the lady that sent me the stuff of the, I'll send you the picture after this. I just posted on my Instagram, the Hopi prophecy, and it's the same picture that the tribal elder drew here. And the lady that sent that to me actually spent decades with the tribes as an infiltrator. She was an infiltrator. She was working as a dissociative asset.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And that's why people, oh, the Freemasons. Mate, the Freemasons, they were hiding the information from the dark forces. That's how they started. And then they got infiltrated. So what's the point? The point is speak the truth. And then it goes back to natural law again. What is right? What is wrong? If it's truth and you know it to be true, speak it. That's it.
Can we just talk to that for 1 second? Because it's like giving
bush raid. Anyway, sorry. Go on. But anyway, like after what I've said, I don't want to offend any tribal people, right? I'm not trying to share your knowledge, your history. I want to learn everything. I want to know what you know, and I would hope like you want to know what other people know too. It's yeah. Just thought I'd better say that, because I did have backlash when I shared that. People going, oh, you have no right to share that that sacred information. I'm like, shut the fuck up. He like told me to share it for starters.
Well, yeah.
And what do you think like the creator, they built this universe and like the Akashic records and that, and only some people have that information, and only some people are allowed to have that information? And yeah, I just got real feisty yesterday, and I started talking about the God Matrix on Instagram. So I've had New Agers freaking cracking the shits of me. I've had Christians calling me a New Ager while the New Agers are coming at me. I'm like, but I think this is the big problem now. A dogmatic belief system is still the number one problem, right? This whole the old world order is collapsing, and you know there's still people running around fear-based that, oh, fucking Klaus Schwab and the WEF, they're gonna kill us all. Right, there's gonna be some destruction, but that is not gonna happen. So the next layer is, what are your belief systems? Because they're gonna be playing out. I think shit's gonna get so wild that you're really gonna have to question what you're living on, your reality, and that's part of going back into nature again, because the answers are simple out there. Anyway, I'm rambling.
No. Well, you're just stirring the pot. So
why is my face not in focus now? It really is like one of the, you'll have to like voice dub me on the secret. There I'm in.
There we go. Hey. I think a couple of things come to mind as you're sharing that. So I did a forecast. I've been doing monthly forecasts, and the one that I did I don't go in with any intention, just what wants to come through. And for memory, for August was talking about like truth and knowledge and like an authenticity. So themes that have been coming up is people's like very much stomach related stuff. So physical stomach issues. But then if you look behind that, the layering is all about personal identity, belief systems, thought processes. But what I do want to share is I was thinking about this last night when I was thinking about like what to share. I did several sessions earlier in the year where I was seeing that people, not everyone, but certain people had like this code of knowledge that sat in their stomach area. And it's like ancient knowledge that sort of goes back beyond the Orion Wars. It goes like back to like the beginning of the split and the dissension, into human, where we are now, right? And it was like people had a code of information or frequency that they had to hide in their stomach, until, so that it wouldn't be accessed or, stolen or manipulated or whatever. And that there would come a time this year that then that would start to unravel, and that would sort of activate within
yeah, when you're holding back though, that's that it's almost like that, yeah, when you're ashamed of yourself or coward, you're like, it's in the stomach, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I told you my stomach's been off the last couple of days. You're the same. Do you know how I'll tell you how I know things are changing? So I've been wanting to talk about this God Matrix stuff for like a long time, and it's like I there's the barrier there because I know I get slammed, right? Anyway, I kind of did it as a test the other day. I posted a few clips, and like I did have a lot of people, really kick up, but I had more people than have ever in my life gone, oh, that's really interesting. And I'm not saying like I know it all or whatever. I'm just saying like just consider this. And I've never had so many people reach out to me and go, oh, that's really interesting. Oh, like, oh, I feel there's something to that. I don't understand it, but and I'm like, yeah. People are just they're opening up. People are remembering really, really, really core truths. And yeah. It's just like you can see those you see those little changes over time. Now, like if I shared that stuff 2 years ago, no one would have understood that. And these are people that are waking up rapidly.
Yeah.
Like I had a chat with these ladies in Kings Canyon. I posted on my Telegram because we're just having a chat, and she's like, oh yeah, we're traveling around. I said, oh hey, you're not working? She goes, oh, we lost our job. And I'm like, oh yeah, me too. And then yeah. But like this lady said, like she didn't know nothing until a year ago, even just about the COVID stuff. She was like an encyclopedia on all the stats, and they were just lovely people. And I'm like, yeah, like it's just like an explosion. It's like the Fibonacci. It's gone boom, boom, boom. And then the other weird thing out here is everyone's wearing masks at all the like the workers.
Okay.
I think it's owned by some like indigenous co-op or whatever, and they own like the hotel and the caravan park and the cafe, like everything, and they're all completely masked. And I asked one of them, so I'm like, I wouldn't mind doing some work here for a few weeks. Like, no, you got to be jabbed and you got to wear a mask everywhere.
Maybe not then.
I'm like, all right, so we've got the organic over here. It's like literally sitting there, and then like the synthetic like is 10 k's down the road. It's literally, if you want to talk about like the splitting of realities, this is almost like the center of it. It's like it costs you $12 to get a meat pie out here and $3 to leave for fuel. and then you're sitting 10 k's from the the compressed bloody embryo of the fucking universe. Like you just got to think of it. You're like, whoa. And like I'm wanting to tell these people this shit at the cafe, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck's going on here, man? What are you doing? What was your call to come to Uluru to get jabbed up and work at the bar all night? Actually, I'll tell you another one. I'm going a bit off topic here, but it kind of relates. We were having a few beers last night with this couple I met, and so you can only get one beer at a time because it's a dry area out here. Although it's a dry area everywhere, except you can drink at the pub because that's where the tourists go. But if you're a local, you can't have a beer. Like whatever. But this girl was sitting there and she was getting real narky. She was just an angry little girl. She was like 21. We're talking, and she's like, oh, I'm from Tassie. I moved here, and she just had an attitude. And then she said, oh, fuck men or whatever. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with men? I said, don't you like men? She goes, no, I hate all men. And I'm like, I looked at the girl we were sitting with, and I said, geez, that's so sad, isn't it? That's so sad. She really meant it too, but I'm just like, oh, you poor little girl. Like you're in this program, like she hates men. What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's so sad. And I'm like, I mean, I don't know her story. I'm sure there's a reason why she's like that, but maybe not to that degree, but that's part of the hijack too. There's a lot of women out there that think that, you know, men have created this horrible society and it's all men. And yeah, that was my feeling. It was just sadness. I'm like, that's really sad that you think that. And I told her that.
I wonder what that's bringing up as a collective theme, because I'm kind of giggling at myself, because I don't know if you remember a phone call I put through to you a few weeks ago, and I maybe said a very similar statement, and I was going through a bit of
I hate men. No, I don't think you said you hate. Maybe you meant you're trying to come to an understanding of your relationship with men, maybe.
I think it was pretty strong words while I was in the thick of it, but you know, but yeah, that was a process I had to dig deep in and like understand my relationship with my own masculine self. And
there we go. Yeah, go. That works. Yeah, sorry, I'm listening.
Yeah, and then I sort of moved through it and feel a lot better for it. But yeah, it's just interesting because I like to look at the collective theme. So what I do want to say is stomach is related to the masculine center. If you're looking at from the way I read and interpret the chakra system in the body. And if we're going through this breaking down of systems, which is more about a masculine energy, then if you've got people going through emotions of hating men or having this negative charge towards, is that an energy that, and then that ties into the financial system as well. The way I see it linked. And I always said that when we see the moment that we're going to see great change occur, and very rapid, quick change, is when the masculine energy starts to go through a transformation and breakdown, because that will impact the structures, the governmental structures, the financial system. And I feel like that will be a very swift movement, because the female component is the energetic and it's a little slower moving, but the masculine is quick. And I feel like when we hit that point, that was when I felt there was going to be a lot more tangible evidence of quick change occurring. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, maybe it might be us Tauruses, because that's what they say about the Taurus. He's the bull that charges forward, right? Towards, yeah.
Well, we've got that alignment happening at the moment in the North Node in Taurus, Mars. Okay. So Uranus, Mars in North Node in Taurus. I've been trying to like decode it. I'm not an astrologer, but it has piqued my interest. I'm hoping to get some people on soon to talk about it. But that's currently in effect, and it started, I think, around the 25th of July. And we're going to feel the after effects of it until, I believe, October into November.
Right.
So that basically summarizes what I'm talking about. So Mars is like the warring planet, the masculine component. Uranus is like abrupt, shake up, change, unexpected. And then in the North Node in Taurus, which is all about finance. Yeah.
Well, that could very much play in geopolitically with what's happening in Taiwan, and obviously the steering towards the collapse of the economy.
What do you see happening in that front?
Like how do I see it playing?
No,
I think everything that's happening, you're getting a lot of forewarning, right? You're getting a lot of time to prepare, a lot of time to get your stuff in order. So, I don't see like an overnight collapse like, 29, where you go to sleep and you wake up and it's gone. Like, I think it's going to be incremental. I think the next 6 months is going to destroy a lot of people with housing foreclosures. I even looked at, I don't know, it's just so weird. Like, I just knew I had to sell my house too. And I look at it now and I survived, like I never really had to worry too much about money, but I couldn't have dealt with another 2% increase on my home loan. And there's a lot of young people that have got huge loans, you know, both people working, and if they're just surviving to pay the mortgage, and it's gonna go up 2-3% with these people who've got these huge debts, that's, you're done, you foreclose. And you know, there's a group out in Bendigo that I know that are living homeless out in on the outskirts, and I think it's just going to be incremental. There's going to be more and more people foreclosing. People are going to go back living with their parents with like kids, you know, like, and that's all going to rile people up even more to say, what is this system? What are we doing with this system that I've got a husband that works, a wife that works, and we can't even put food on the table.
Yeah.
And the inflation's just like, we haven't seen the start of it yet. So yeah, that's how I see it. I don't see like a massive crash. It's just going to be chipping away and just taking out people. And then what is it? Because no one really there's this self-prevalence and just caring, like, I'll just get mine until I'm not worried about anyone else. Well, when it starts chipping away at the middle class, that's when people are going to be pissed off. And that was the whole agenda, to destroy the middle class, because, you know, the middle class had too much freedom in the eyes of the system. So I don't know. Yeah, like when, and you know, I don't know. Like obviously they do like to crash in the northern hemisphere autumn.
Okay. Yeah.
For
For
astrotheological reasons, they like to do that. So yeah, look, I said last year, if it didn't happen last October, November, that it was going to happen this one, and it doesn't happen this one, maybe like, fuck, man, who knows? But yeah, there's no way. I can't believe that financial system is still surviving. They just keep printing money. That's all they do.
Yeah. I know. I want to talk about something that sort of ties into that, or get your thoughts on it. So, you know, we're talking about the splitting of realities occurring, and making the choice and going the path that, you know, your soul is leading you, per se. Do you think that ties into in part of like that aspect? Because I know from my own experience, and, you know, a lot of people in their awakening do get stripped back bare of money and resources and home and things like that as part of the, you know, going minimal, and losing physical things. And then you kind of connect into a more divine, trusting scenario. And then, I don't know, I've always felt that when I've gone without and not had a lot of money, it has strengthened my spiritual connection. It's strengthened my faith. And it's taught me a lot in how things just work out, even though you don't know how it's going to come together. And I wonder whether that is part of like the splitting of reality and going through that, because I truly believe also, because I woke up this morning and I felt a lot of the scarcity and the fear, especially in the last few weeks, of like this doom and gloom sort of vibe happening. And then today it shifted. And the first thing I felt as it shifted was like, oh my God, there's so much abundant energy. Like I can feel it, I can taste it. It kind of feels gold. And like, you know, I know that when you can tap into that, things change, and you can, you know, have a flow of abundance that comes in unique ways, and you don't have to sort of worry about it. So do you think that sorry.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, do you individually, did you have to lose it before you appreciated what you have? Can you have that appreciation without losing it? Do you need to go through that? You know, that's how I see it. And I think collectively that the level of consciousness is not there, that does have to happen on a collective level. And that others don't need to learn such a dramatic lesson, but for the majority they do. So as far as like a splitting, well, I guess that kind of plays into like the different financial systems that supposedly, you know, if we go this way or we go the other way. are they both different potentialities of a new economic collective that we're going to be under? I think that's going to shake itself out for like 10 years. It's going to take a long time. How do you just bring in a whole new financial system?
I don't think anyone really knows how it's going to play out. I mean, I'm curious about it.
Like,
but...
you know, like people are like, I don't waste any time with the quantum financial system, right? Yeah, they're probably doing something. What it is, I don't know. And I'll reserve my opinion on what I think it is till when and if it comes out. And when and if it comes out, people go, oh, you know, how do we know if it's going to be good? How do we know it's going to be bad? Everything has an energy. You will be able to, you can feel what this current financial system, it's its own entity. It's a beast. And I've said before, it runs on the energy of water. That's what money is. And you will, and if you're looking now at a digital currency, is that running on water? I don't feel the energy of a digital currency being water. It's more of like a, I don't know, is it like synthetic, like synapses in the brain or something? It's kind of like that. It's a bit, I feel it's more of a harder energy than a natural flow of water. So I don't know. I'll just
all
say,
these visuals as you're talking.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, feel into what it is when it happened. People go, oh, fucking talking you out. But it's true. Like, feel what that financial system is, because I don't even know if I particularly want to engage in it, whether it's going to be good or not. It's definitely going to be digitally based. So it's either freedom or it's not. I mean, there has to be some sort of economic system. We're not at a point of this. People that think we're going back to a world of barter and that, it's stupid. Like the society's moved on past that. You got people living in these huge areas. Not everyone's going to be part of a barter system. That can still coexist within a pocket of that society. But I think people are deluded if they think that we're going to fucking Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I'm giving you like long-winded nothing answers today. What the fuck's going
No, it's giving me like things to ponder and think about, and that's why I like conversations with you. Is it's a bit activating in that way, and I hope I think a lot of people have that when they listen to you talk. You pick up on your own thing, and when you're saying feeling into the energy of the flow of money. And I was like current system, new system, digital system. And I got a real sense and feeling of what that looked like in a stream of water and how my body reacted to it and which one I want to step into, which stream that I want to choose to feel into and bring as a part of my creation or my reality. So, that's maybe something people can consider to do. The more people are stepping into that new system, however it looks, but just based on the feeling, then we're going to have like a ripple effect, the strength in numbers and consciousness and energy. So yeah, something to ponder.
If you look though, if you look again, like a symbiotic relationship between us and the planet and us and water, and the flow of our energy and the flow of the planet. Now, think of all the hijacking and siphoning of water, right? And these dams are going out to these rice fields out in the desert and all that stuff too. Have they done that to hijack the natural energy flow of the planet? And it is part of healing this planet, again, allowing, because I know the tribal people talk about this, is to allowing the water to flow naturally where it's meant to flow. That's how you're going to heal the earth. And then maybe that even will coincide with a new financial system when the water is able to flow again, because then you've got natural energy flow, because water is energy, which is abundance, which is money.
And that dream that I had last night. Yeah.
But that's, I think the water is key too. It's a very good expression of how they've hijacked. And particularly, we've seen that in Australia. Look at the Murray-Darling. It's fucking disgusting what they've done here. And there is no lack of water in this country. That is a fucking lie. It's siphoned and it's stolen.
Yeah. And it needs to go back into a place of equilibrium. And it will. Yeah, it will. Oh.
But I think that's part of the healing, is to let the water flow. Let the water flow down.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can work with that in our own process. I mean, yeah. 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 All right. So because it's Lionsgate 88, and I like to go there. So we're looking at planetary alignment with Orion's belt, Sirius over aligning with the pyramids in Egypt. Your thoughts on current energies right now in relation to that? Anything?
Well, if I go back to that drawing too, the tribal elder drew too, he said that was alignment to Orion as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it had like multiple interpretations, but he said like the three in a row, and he obviously, like the pyramids in Egypt and stuff like that. It's all like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
well,
cool.
It's like if it's going, yeah, if it's going cycles and stuff too, it's because like the Orion War and the war now, it's the same war.
That's why I want to make the correlation. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's because these are cycles, and if he talks about that planetary alignment too, it's going back from the ancient wars are being fought now in a different way, and this time the prize is Earth.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's and there's going to be different outcomes. And again, a lot of the trauma, and that's what even like back to Moldek and stuff too. And I've heard people talk about they have recall of being on Moldek, and they I think that's why people have a yearning for the ocean too, right? And they look out into the ocean. It's the loss of that society, and those that got off the planet and that were able to see their planet be destroyed. Imagine like if you play into that story that you got taken off Earth and you watched the Earth be blown up, and feel that pain and that trauma that you would hold.
Yeah. Well, funny you mentioned that. I don't know what planet it was. I've never put a name to it. But the earliest memory that I recall as like a 3-year-old is seeing that exact thing. And
Really?
yeah, so I saw myself out in space and I watched a planet, I don't know what one, be destroyed. And I knew that I was like the last person standing and I had to be taken off it. And I have gone back and revisited that in sessions. But I had a fear as a child that the same thing would happen. I would be the last person standing on the planet. Like it was her. What 3-year-old?
So that's a trauma that you're holding, that because there's no contract to
No, but that's a past experience. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't.
Do you know what?
But it was
so many
too.
Yeah. But that's why so many people love Star Wars. It's cosmic history, right? And people remember it. Even these people got no idea about anything. They're obsessed with Star Wars. I'm like, you had the Death Star that was blowing up these planets. It's not fiction.
No, I've seen a lot recently. It goes in ebbs and waves, but I've seen a lot of people who have connection to Orion, in particular, really go through some deep dives of late. And I think, we often talk about the compression and like whatever experiences playing out there plays down here. And I think there's a lot of karmic balancing that's occurring. There's that. And then there's also like a lot of people just having this doom and gloom, like, the doomsdayers, but like having just that underlying feeling like the end of times, the end of days. And I think that then ties into like healing that trauma of going through an experience.
Well, do you reckon those doom and gloomers too? They're the ones that, they've had those incarnations where it was doom and gloom, and it all got fucking destroyed. Yeah, and they can't see past that because they're soaked. And that's why I talk about like your multi-dimensional layer and compression, because people will hold on to that one fucking trauma. Say you're on Moldek when it got blown up, and you can't release that. That's like you don't see past that. You're like, that was an experience. You needed to have that. You haven't integrated that experience because you're still traumatized by it. You need to understand that was part of your multidimensional self. One experience you had, you're caught in a time loop.
Mhm.
You need to fucking get over it, integrate it, and then understand that there's a much bigger play,
Yeah,
a much bigger story to be told.
yeah, yeah. And
It's like anyone that, you know, you have a bad relationship in the human experience and you dwell on that for 20 fucking years. Like, you know, you talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, my ex-husband, that fucking cunt. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Forget I'm doing a record. You know, those people, they just hold it. They'll just hold it for forever. It's the same thing. You can do that. You can do that cosmically too.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was recently having this like little download. You know, when you're going to sleep and that in between where you get all that information come through, and it was so profound. I wasn't able to capture it fully, but I was being shown like the Earth, like as a sphere that has all these like, you got a friend, Dale, all these pockets that are like, like these holes, like craters, right? And it's showing how like the positions of separation in the collective field, and how each time we heal a relationship or an issue that we have within us, it closes the gap, and like all the people doing that at the same time, and how it unifies the collective field, and how important it is to be able to neutralize and heal and forgive and whatever to those what may be seemingly so insignificant I've lost the words, but like, grievances, that's what I was looking for, you know, whether it's with this person or that person or whatever the story is, you know, being able to heal that within yourself. That's like it come back to the internal experience, and like, what is that showing you and gifting you? How can you heal that within yourself, and how that impacts the collective field? And that's how we transition quicker into this new reality.
But I mean, a lot of people, most people don't want to know the real answer. They want, you know, oh, well, that's fucking too hard. You know?
And I remember a time in my own journey where people would say things like that to me, and I would be very quick to say, but you don't understand.
Yeah,
this person did this.
The ones that get me, they're like, oh yeah, well, I'm all about sovereignty. I'm like, oh yeah, but you know, I need to get down on my knees and give my life to. Oh fuck. I see. Talk about integrate. I've got to integrate that, because that's it just triggers me so hard, doesn't it?
Let's do some.
You know what? We've spoken about this before. It's like, I know, like I don't know it all. I don't know shit, but I know there's something to these biblical story. I know there's core truths in there, and I know the one that's being given to society is not right. There's a twist to it, and I don't fucking like it. Do you know what I mean? And I don't like seeing people give away their power.
Yeah.
Because I know we've done it. We've all done it before. I don't like it. It triggers me. And then when they claim to be sovereign, I'm like, well, I say spiritual sovereignty is the real one. Now, you know.
Why do you think that is, Dale, or anonymous?
Well, because I think the first layer of sovereignty that people think they're fighting is that war is going to be won. And then what? Are you sovereign then? Like, even if you had to fight for your freedom, what does real sovereignty mean? What, you know, a real sovereignty to me is I am sovereign. I am an infinite being. I am the universe. I exist with the universe. I exist beyond the universe. I was never created. I always have been. That's sovereignty. And this is why I was talking about the God matrix, because you're either you're a created being or you're infinite. Which one are you? You know?
Pretty simple when you break it down like that, isn't it?
Yeah, you're created, or you always have been.
and maybe they're, you know, not everyone has always been.
Well, I think everyone always has been at the complete, the complete soul level that exists beyond this universe. Within the infinite nature of life, they always have been. But are you a created entity within this universe? Yeah, well, you are. You co-created. That's how you came into this universe. So you are when you are created. Because when people say the creator, right? Yeah, you're co-creating with this universal creator of this universe. But in the infinite nature of life, you're infinite, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, big concepts.
Big concepts. We've gone there. Thank you. Lots of
We've
people.
gone for it. Done an hour over.
Yeah, I think we're good to wrap up. Any final thoughts? Where are you off to? And maybe you don't want to share that.
No, that's all right. No, I don't even know. So, but yeah, I'll be heading down your way eventually. Heading down south. I'm a bit hesitant to go down there right away, just because it's August and I haven't had it. It's cold enough here at night, but yeah, I don't know. Probably south.
Currently 12 degrees. Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait a bit. It's pretty cold here in the morning, actually. It's a beautiful day today. It's like 26, 28 tomorrow.
Oh, okay. That's a bit of a difference.
Really, I mean, yeah, it gets down to near zero at night. It's really cold at night.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dale. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated this conversation. I hope everyone has enjoyed and got stuff out of it. If you are struggling at the moment, I'm doing a workshop on the 14th, creational code. So if people are interested in that, I'll put the details in the description box. It's a combination of working with art and energy. So it's something I experimented a week ago, and I've gone through such a big process and only come out the other side. I'm like, oh, that's what was wrong with me. So and that was the artwork that you were talking about earlier. So working with embodying that and the representation of what that means. So so powerful stuff. If you want to join me or connect with me, all the details will be in the description box below. Of course, follow along on Dale's socials. I'll list them in the description box if you don't already and you want to check out his adventures. And just
the wind's just gone crazy just as you were finishing up there.
Oh really?
It's been still the whole time. It's huge gust of wind. I don't know if you heard it.
Nature's talking. Cool. Well, happy Lionsgate, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well, and Dale and I will connect back. Hopefully maybe we'll do a transmission or something soon. So
yeah, cool.
All right. See you. Bye, everyone.